Hi Cancer, welcome to your fortnightly reading with me, Raphael Ray from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. So I'm doing a fortnightly reading this time because I am away on holiday next week, so there's not going to be a chance to do a weekly video. So I want to give you this, guys, so I can sort of give you some guidance over the next 2 weeks, and just keep you in the loop as to what might be happening and the trends going on in your life. And then once I get back, it will be business as usual, and I will be posting a whole set of videos for the Jupiter transit that is about to hit next month. So really exciting stuff. Stay tuned for that. So into both of these decks I would like to call in all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I hope that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's see what the cards have in store for you for the fortnight ahead. I'll be using the monthly format. So the first card out, wow, interesting, because the first card out on the Gemini reading that I did just before this was this card as well. And the message that I had for them was that they need to put them, you have to put your actions where your words are this week, because this card, it talks about your actions. The first card out is your actions, your interactions with the world at large, and it's ruled by fire. And so you get a Wands card, which is fire, and you get the Ten of Wands. This is about moving things from one place to another, and it talks about shouldering the responsibility. Interesting, because you guys have been on this very odd journey. Excuse me, and last week you had an amazing week. I'm a Cancer moon sign, so in some way, shape or form this is relevant for me as well. Last week you had an amazing week where you were seen to be, more responsible, and people really helping you get ahead and really receiving you in a really good way. Or it took the shape or the form of you saying, actually, do you know what, where I'm always nurturing everybody else, I'm going to nurture myself for a change. I'm going to look after myself and make sure that I'm at optimum so that I can continue to give and be the optimum for the others in my life. So the way that this shows up for you this week, this talks about your ability to be responsible. It talks about acting responsibly, and it talks about having, and you guys are obviously responsible because Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. So, in some way, shape or form, all Cancers, even the males, even the, the most masculine brutes of guys are, they're maternal in some way, shape or form. But I kind of feel like this is the ability to really say, look, you know what, I'm going to shoulder this responsibility and I'm going to do it properly. But it also, like I said for the Geminis, it talks about doing what you say you're going to do. This isn't just about talking the talk, it's about walking the walk as well, and saying, right, okay, these are the actions that I said that I were going to take, and now I'm going to take those actions, I'm going to follow through on my word. This is about keeping your integrity intact over the next fortnight. And this is very much as well for a lot of Cancerians, this is going to be about finding a new place to live. This is going to be about finding a new place. And the interesting thing is, when I say that, I'm getting this image of a hermit crab. And sometimes in life, when we move, it's important that we don't take the crap from one place to another. Kind of like the other thing, aside from the hermit crab, that I'm thinking about is, in Ice Age, when you see the two little dung beetles and he goes, do we really have to take all of this crap? And she goes, my mother bought us this. And it's like, I'm sure they'll have crap wherever it is that we're going. And it's very much kind of that. Don't take your past baggage and crap with you over the next fortnight, because this is stuff to really let go of, to leave behind. It's things that no longer serve you. And sometimes being responsible is being able to demonstrate what shouldn't go with you forward into your new life or into your new home. This is about being discerning about what you take with you. And sometimes that talks about your actions. Your actions is about how you are perceived. What you do is very much how people perceive you as who you are. So put your money where your mouth is. Make sure that you walk your talk if you're going to talk it. Make sure that you stand up and you back up everything that you say you're about with some form of action. Show up for yourself and prove that you are a person of integrity. Your money and your materials. Okay, very interesting. So this card talks about two things. One, it talks about charity. Sometimes it talks about a blessing that somebody from the outside wants to give you. And for some of you, it will talk about a karmic debt being repaid. So, we're talking about your money and your materials. You get an Earth card, which is the Pentacles, and then you get the number 6 of Pentacles, which incidentally is all to do with your home. And I said that this was about some of you moving. I really feel like this week, Cancer, for those of you that want to move or are needing to move, this is going to be, then over the next fortnight, you will have some really good news about a place that you want to move to, about a place that's been reduced in price, maybe maybe the rent's been reduced, maybe somebody has a property that they want to let and they say to you, actually, do you know what, I would like to put you in there, can we talk about some kind of deal? In terms of charity, this talks about your ability to say, what can I do for other people? And this is talking about the universal flow. How can I make things happen for other people? Because when we do that, when we bless others, the universe blesses us in return. This is an underlying thread that's been coming through all of the readings, actually, in some way, shape or form. It's like everybody's tapped into this law of attraction stuff. Everybody is manifesting and vibrating with something. And what you draw into your world or into your life at this moment in time relies very much on what you put out into the world. And the 6 of Pentacles is all to do with charity. It's all to do with karmic debt being repaid. In terms of physical stuff and physical money and finances, what is it that you're holding on to that you just don't really need anymore? And it's funny because I said this about do we really need to take all of this crap with us? If you're moving house, don't take everything with you just for the sake of having it all. Let some of it go so that it can be replaced with new stuff. And that stuff that you no longer need, that you no longer need to carry around with you and, drag all over the bloody world, here, there and everywhere, give it to somebody that could genuinely benefit from it, that will get something much better out of it, that it's not just going to sit in a cupboard and do nothing with. This is a time to really lighten yourself, lighten your space so that you can make way for all of the new blessings that want to come into your life. Very, very interesting. And also in terms of your physical health, I feel like for a lot of you that have been suffering chronic conditions, that will help lighten the burden of those. It's like once you get rid of some of the physical stuff that you're holding on to, whatever the clutter is, once you declutter your physical space, your physical body will start to feel better too. I feel that these three things are actually intrinsically linked. Very interesting. So your next card is your heart and your hearth, your emotional, responsible, romantic relationships. So the 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles is work. Doing the work, going to work, showing up at work. Interesting, because 2 of these cards showed up in the previous reading. And you've got a very, very similar energy, just in different positions. So your relationships this week are going to be things that you have to work at, and it's interesting because last week you had this really good week where you were on fire and you were making things happen and people were like, oh my gosh, it's amazing to see you shine. But what happened to the person that looks after everybody? Well, actually the person that looks after everybody is looking after themselves and is currently under construction. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong to state that, as long as you let people know that it is just temporary and that you will at some point go back to not necessarily being the maid or mummying people, but you will go back to your usual loving, warm self. But at the moment, you're diverting that energy towards yourself. And if you speak up and you verbalise that, people will love and respect you more for it, because it's going to be like, wow, okay, you know what? Finally, you've recognised that actually even you need a break from caring for people. Even you need time to do something for me. This is about you finding your me time, and it's about working on your relationships and demonstrating enough love and trust in those relationships to say, look, you know what, I love you and I care for you, but at the moment you're going to have to look after yourself because I need to look after myself as well. For those of you that are coupled, this talks about, putting some effort into the relationship and being honest about it in that same way, shape or form. For those of you that are looking for love or just got into relationships, this talks about letting the work happen. This talks about, it's interesting because it's a very similar message to one of the other readings as well, although it's a different card. This talks very much about you kind of allowing it to happen through the skill of relationship, through the ability to, you know, to work at something by not working at it, by not overworking it. It's like kind of, you know, when you knead bread, there is a point where actually you need to stop kneading it and then just let it rise and do its thing. This is very much that. What is work and what is overwork, and figuring out which is which. Interesting. Communications. The Three of Pentacles. Okay, this is a really great card, and I'm going to be really honest with you. It talks about institutional learning, actually, so learning in general. The number 3 is all to do with life, death, and rebirth, so it represents birthing things or creating things or things becoming real and physically tangible. Interesting, Cancer, because this week you've got basically all Earth. You know, which is all to do with steady practical matters. It talks about your physical health, it talks about your money, your materials, your finances, it talks about your home. All of that stuff is really, really being highlighted for you over the next fortnight. And a lot of that is to do with where your security is at. One thing I have to say to you about this card, though, is it because it represents learning, I'm going to be really honest with you. Don't be afraid to take on other viewpoints. Don't be afraid to say to somebody, actually, I don't know what I'm doing here. Can you help me? And more importantly, if somebody offers you an opinion on something, don't let your personal preconceived notions of things or preconceived conditioning of things let you stop you from letting somebody else give you information that might well be more pertinent than the information that you have. You know, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, just because somebody's younger than you doesn't mean that they can't teach you anything. Just because somebody isn't, I don't know, say you're an expert in nuclear physics, and well, you probably wouldn't be here if you were, but who knows? You know, I say that. Actually, that's a huge generalisation. Bad, Rafi. But you get my drift. If you meet somebody else that's an amateur in this stuff, just because they don't have a degree in it, doesn't mean that they don't have something valuable to offer. And the same goes for life and philosophy and all of these things, and especially within communication. Stay open to communication over the next fortnight, because you might find yourself having conversations with people that really come through to surprise you. Like, really come through to surprise you. And as an example of this, just a quick one, I knew a police officer who was actually very spiritual, you know, and 99% of police officers are all kind of sort of quite... And, you know, we had this amazing talk about Reiki and spirituality and, you know, where we go when we die. And I was blown away. I was really blown away, because he seemed to know so much. And that's what I mean. Let people surprise you in the best of ways. Don't get hung up on your stereotypes of what you know. Don't let your institutional learning shorten what you can learn from people and who they actually are and what they might know, just because they're from a different walk of life than you. You know, especially if that person's a novice, because you never know. Sometimes that fresh pair of eyes is interesting. You hear that? There's a bunch of kids out there. Cancer represents the mother, and, you know, as I was saying about people younger than you, look at that. And I believe that might be part of the message. You know, even your own children can teach you things if you're willing to listen, if you're willing to learn. So, what is the destiny for you over the next fortnight? What is it that you need to know, and what is the overarching theme? Let's have a look. Oh, that one seems to want to pop out. The Strength card. So the Strength card represents the sign of Leo. Talks about your back, and the fact that you've got this card as well. You look after your back health or your spinal health over the next fortnight, especially the lower back. You know, keep it mobile, keep it warm, keep it supple, and if you need to, consult somebody about it. In terms of your physical health, it looks good, it looks vibrant, it looks like you're really... don't overexert yourself, because if you do, the chances are you might put your back out, because usually that's the weaker disposition with this card and the Ten of Wands, so just look out for that. But in terms of everything else, this talks about your ability to really find a new source of strength. This talks about over the next fortnight you finding that you have gifts and abilities that you haven't used for a long time, and some that you just didn't know you had. You know, this talks about you finding new ways to generate the things that you want, and more importantly, it talks about you finding the strength and the courage to step away from doing too much for other people, to step away from this feeling of, yeah, I have to mummy and baby everybody. It's not always your job. Sometimes you just need to concentrate on yourself. You know, Leo is very much about the self. It's about me. It's about me on stage, people seeing me do what I do. And like I said in the beginning, this is about shouldering some of that responsibility. So very, very interesting set of cards. Let me know how it pans out for you. I wish you an abundance of love, like peace, prosperity, and abundance itself. For the continued subbies, I love you so much. Thank you so much for all of your support. For those of you just passing through, I hope you got something that was relevant for you. And for those of you that are new subbies, thank you so much and welcome to the page. You know, this is just as much for you guys as it is everybody else. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the email address below. If you would like to donate to the channel, of course, that is totally your choice. Radiant Reality would be very happy to greatly receive that. Thank you so much. Have a great time, and I will see you soon.